Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today. We are starting with PlayStation system updates and how apparently they're going to be more frequent going forward. Being reported by PlayStation Lifestyle, Sony has revealed that it's been tinkering with things behind the scenes to ensure more rapid PlayStation system updates going forward. We've already seen improvements on this front during the PS5 generation, and it looks like frequent updates for both features and system software will be the norm in the PlayStation 6 generation. GameFile's Stephen Totilo has published an interesting conversation with the folks over at Sony Interactive Entertainment, during which the company made the revelation above while talking about improvements made to the PS5's UI, especially the Welcome Hub. Unlike previous generations, the PS5 has not only benefited from more frequent updates, but it has also taken advantage of Sony's back-end changes that allow smaller feature updates to be applied to consoles without an actual download. We most recently saw this when the PlayStation 30th anniversary boot screen and UI features were rolled out as a surprise and did not require players to download a new firmware patch. Sony has previously said that it will continue to make improvements to the PlayStation UI based on player feedback and response. However, the company hasn't responded to repeated requests for the return of dynamic themes. The closest we have seen to the PS4 UI's best feature is the Welcome Hub background. And so, yeah, I thought that this was something that was worth going over here because if you kind of go over some of the information that came out of Stephen Totilo's GameFile, which is behind a paywall, this was probably one of the more interesting things that was revealed, is that they're letting us know that going forward, they're planning on just having more frequent updates rolling out for the PS5. And I assume, as the article points out here, that will probably be the new norm going into the PlayStation 6, to whereas previously the way Sony would do it is 2 major updates a year, usually one in the first half of the year and one in the second half of the year. I believe the months they usually were targeting are March and September, but now they're just going to do it on a more frequent basis. But we're moving on to the next topic, which talks about a really interesting rumor regarding the next generation Xbox. Now, this is going to be pretty relevant because even though Microsoft is seemingly on their way out when it comes to the console market, they are still releasing a next generation console. And what's most interesting is rumors we've heard previously is that this console might be launching as soon as 2026. What makes that so significant is other rumors we've heard about the PlayStation 6 seem to indicate that Sony might not be ready to launch the PlayStation 6 until sometime in 2028. So we are looking at a potential 2-year head start for the next generation Xbox, which no matter which way you slice it, I think makes things a bit more interesting. So we have another insider here who seems to indicate that, yeah, this is the plan for Microsoft. This comes from Ghost of Hope, and he says a couple of things here. First, he says, "I'm hearing that the next Xbox console is still coming in 2026 and will be called Xbox Prime. I'm still unclear if it's a code name or the actual name. I've heard Infinity Ward's next Call of Duty is still being considered a day one release for this." So he says that he's hearing that 2026 is still what Microsoft is targeting for their next console. What's interesting, though, is the idea of the name Xbox Prime. What do you guys think of this? Do you think this sounds more like the actual name of the next generation Xbox, or do you think it's more of a code name? He goes on to say, "I know people don't believe it, but Xbox's next console being in 2026 is pretty much an open secret within the industry. Seems early, but I think it makes sense with where Xbox is headed." And he says the name sounds corny, but if it fits it. There's a big push for day one games on Game Pass right away, and they get a jump on PlayStation 6. Big risk, but huge rewards if it pays off. And so, yeah, this is yet another rumor regarding the next generation Xbox that indicates they are all in with a 2026 release. And I just genuinely have to wonder if this is what's going to happen, which it seems like it is, how Sony is or is not going to respond, right? Is this going to impact what Sony's planning for the PlayStation 6 at all? Because I don't think there's any denying that a potential 2-year head start is big, right? But at the same time, we see what's happening with the Xbox consoles, and we also have to imagine like where Xbox might be when it comes to their multi-platform approach by, I guess we could say, November 2026. And the truth is, like, they could have brought so many games over to PS5 by that point that it's just like, yeah, man, we're just putting this console out. We're not really expecting much from it, but there it is. Is it going to be that, or is this going to be some kind of last-ditch effort, you know, where Microsoft basically says, we're going to go the 360 route one more time. We're going to go all in with a new console, a big push, get out ahead of Sony. I would assume make it as affordable as possible. I'm going to assume it's going to be one box this time, not two, considering some of the issues that we've had with the Series S this gen. And so Xbox Prime apparently targeting 2026. I have to imagine this is something Sony is paying close attention to. Whether or not they feel threatened by it, well, that's a different conversation entirely, but still very interesting stuff here. It's going to be really interesting to see how the next generation of consoles for both PlayStation and Microsoft, you know, how the build up to it ends up being, because I have a feeling it's going to be vastly different from what we saw with the Xbox One, PS4, and the PS5 and Xbox Series. Moving on to the next topic, though, we have the first ever PS5 style controller announced for Xbox platforms. A peripheral from Hyperkin has announced a new Xbox and PC controller based on PS5's DualSense design. The new competitor wired gamepad will be compatible with Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC, featuring a PS5-style D-pad and Hall effect analog sticks positioned in the PlayStation style. The controller's triggers are also designed similarly to the PS5 DualSense controller, and a prominent mute button is featured on the gamepad's face. Hyperkin is yet to share pricing or release info for competitor. Previously, Hyperkin created the classic Duke and Xbox 360 style controllers for Xbox platforms and PC. So I just wanted to throw this out here because I'll be honest, I would have thought that something like this would have came sooner rather than later. But yeah, I mean, they're really not trying to hide the fact that this is supposed to be a DualSense that works on Xbox consoles. If you look at the color design, the two-tone white and black, and yeah, the mute button, the D-pad, it just straight up looks like a DualSense Xbox controller. Very interesting stuff there. What do you guys think of this? I'm just curious, are there any Xbox players here who would consider getting this to play on their Xbox consoles or even on PC? Let me know down in the comments below. But guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.